Hello and welcome to this Jobava London Attack video. In this one we will be covering model games. So I've selected a set of representative model games from very strong players, grandmasters, and from the theoretical lines we've covered. So you can find all these games with full analysis in my Lichess study, linked below. This will be a long video, with many games covered, so timestamps are included, so you can jump from one game directly to the next, or watch this video in many chunks. Throughout the video, I'll ask you to pause the video, and find the best move at key moments in the game. So stay focused and active if you want to kind of think along, So let's enjoy some exciting and beautiful games and see how grandmasters in practice play this opening. So we're gonna start with the first game, and as white you see the names on the board, playing a very strong grandmaster with over 2600. Black is play around 2400. So game started. This was a classical game from 2016. So and white played the London system, but it will transpose back to Jobava. Of course, we know our move order is knight c3, d5, bishop f4, and let's see how it comes back into our system that we play. White will later play knight c3, as we'll see. Black is playing this bishop d6 early move, but you see white is ignoring this supposed capture, and c5, and after this take on c5 we're kind of back into Jobava London again, Jobava London system. So this position with knight c3 could have arisen. Maybe I'll just show you. We could have reached this the same way, like this, for example. It's the same. If black doesn't capture on f4, if they go for c5, then we usually take it, like we continue the game, take it, bishop takes, and here's the first moment to pause the video and think of a typical idea for white how to continue. So the right move is e4. This is a typical idea. We want to advance the pawn, as black is also thinking about expanding in the center, so we do it first. And in the game, black took the pawn. Maybe d4 is an interesting try, but after all these moves, black is trying to play e5, trying to harass this bishop, but white has a very good move e5 here to kind of disconnecting these pawns and slight advantage. So d takes e4 was played. Well, all these exchanges are kind of favorable for white, as their pieces are more active. Bishops are more active than black's, and here black played suddenly double attacking our pieces. So the next moment for you to pause the video, how should white continue? The right move is queen c1. We protect both. Not only protect, but we have a threat actually. We want to play bishop g5 and trap the queen. So black went e5, bishop g5, queen d6, rook d1, and gaining couple tempos. Queen is thrown back, c3. Well, next intention is clear, b4, to push the bishop back again, and black now is pushed back. And they kind of made a mistake, but it's not really easy to understand why this move is a mistake. But here's a critical moment in the game where white with one move actually won the game. So black actually even resigned after this move. So that was a very powerful move. So pause the video. And the correct one is, like a bolt from the blue, bishop f6, double exclam. This wins the game. Why is this winning? Here black resigned, so a very quick game. Why is this winning? If rook g8, then you can use the pin and go here, and mate is unavailable. But what if they take the bishop? Then queen h6 again, and we have two threats. Rook is hanging with mate and h7 is hanging, so there is no way to defend against both at the same time. So for example, f5 mate. So this was a quick game for white. Next game is between Alekseenko and Kokarev. So these are two GMs with around 2600. This was a rapid game from 2017, and it's a kind of model game on how to play against Queen's Gambit declined setup with a6 and e6 ideas. So d4, knight f6. We come back into Jobava attack, and you see we kind of analyze in the theory what to do against this a6 move. Here white plays e3, our typical move, and after e6, here's the first moment to check if you remember what to do with white. So pause the video and think what to play. And the correct move, according how we play, is g4, launch that pawn, yeah? The moment black plays e6, they usually close this bishop, so no longer this pawn will be attacked twice. And this is a typical move to launch the attack. Go g5 next. Black played bishop b4. So this move is particularly important as it's concerned of many white players to kind of double the pawns. And another pause the video moment here. Let's see if you remember the correct move here. And the right one is knight e2. Yeah, we don't want black mess up the pawns for us, so we defend this pin and trying to get rid of it next turn. Black played c5, which is a bit dubious. This natural move is one of the reasons kind of black is playing bishop b4, but this is not as strong as it seems. White of course played a3 here. So maybe let's quickly check what happens. I think knight g4 was the critical move to play. Rook g1, and if black is thinking of many moves, he might find g5, and here is a kind of unclear position. Maybe black should have went for this. So, but he went c5, but now a3 is working perfectly, our idea to get out of this pin. If they take the knight, we are very happy, yeah? We got rid of the pin, got their good bishop. In the game, cd was played, so, but now white took the bishop instead of recapturing here, and this position happens, but white already has a nice advantage. We have greater central control, we have won their good bishop, and our attack is coming as well. So castles g5, knight fd7, and h4. White plays thematic, yeah, as we've seen in theory. We push these pawns, we advance against the king, and now black played a very slow move, knight b6. So white is already kind of on top, goes through with his attack. Queen h5 comes in, g6, of course we go in, and e5 played. So here is a pause the video moment right here. Try to think how we would continue the attack. The right idea is we don't retreat anything, we go all in. Yeah, h5. We want to capture, we want to checkmate the king. So queen e7 was played, trying to kind of at least defend this way, yeah. But hg, fg, here it's another moment to pause the video. Find a decisive move for white. The right idea is we sack the bishop. And black played bishop f5. Let's see what happens after hg. Maybe you think, maybe you calculated this idea. This is also very good for white, but here variation is bishop takes e5 is even better, because whenever they take with a knight, yeah, they cannot capture with the queen, checkmate. We go for the same line, but this time this knight will be hanging back with check. Yeah, we win the queen with check and then take the knight. So yeah, bishop f5 was in the game. Actually, yeah, after bishop e5, maybe bishop f5 could be another move, but then white goes like this. Here's the line, and we win the queen again with checks, and everything happens with checks. So in the game, black didn't even try to take the bishop. They went bishop f5, but then white is basically up a pawn with big attack continuing. So they cannot take, yeah, this way. Bishop h4 will be happening. Black went rook d8, trying to at least counter something, but g6, this basically decides the game. Black tried to exchange the queens, but white was not greedy. Yeah, attack is kind of defended, but white cashes in with just some pawns and goes into a winning endgame. Yeah, another pawn won here, and let's see how white just quickly converted the endgame. Yeah, they are 2 pawns up. Yeah, some exchanges, but this b7 is also falling, so some couple moves made, but it's clear that white is totally winning. Yeah, and here black resigns. So another interesting game of this Queen's Gambit system where we go g4. The next game is between a player named Tsydypov and a very famous grandmaster from India, Vidit. So both are, white is like around 2600, and black player is like almost 2700. So, but this was from a Blitz game, so World Blitz Championship from 2022. So yeah, I usually don't like to include Blitz games, but this was very instructive how to play again against Queen's Gambit decline idea. So here is the first question, maybe what do we play here with white? Of course, we go for g4. Yeah, that's our typical move against the solid system. We go for attack. We immediately launch that pawn. And here, surprisingly, black kind of played bishop d6, moving the same piece twice. Not a good idea. a6 seems like a better try to me. Delay the castle, yeah, don't go into the fire where white is attacking. So bishop d6 was played. And now, in the theory, I didn't mention this move, but white has an option actually to play sometimes queen f3. Maybe in other lines I mentioned it, but exactly here, queen f3 is also a very interesting move. In the game, g5 was played, which is also nice, but this queen f3 idea to prepare long castles and immediately defend the bishop and support kingside play as well. So something like this could happen. Here white could even has an option to take with the pawn as well, but queen d6 maybe retreat. If you want to go, you can go to endgame. This is also slightly better for white, so just wanted to mention this queen f3 interesting idea. You can also, like, if black plays some slow moves, yeah, you can also improvise these kind of moves. g5 was played, knight fd7, knight f3. Again, queen f3 was an option. Queen e7 was played. So black is kind of playing very slow to my eyes. Of course, this is a blitz game, so we'll have to ignore some mistakes. b5, h4, bishop b7. Okay, black is smartly developing, yeah, not castling straight into attack. But white is still made all the right moves, yeah. Castled long, developed, and we are trying to break through with g6. So here exactly it happened very soon. Queen c5 was played. Yeah, white took the pawn because they don't want to maybe allow this pawn march. So they opened the center a bit. Have to be careful of this bishop though. So, and here white played an interesting move, bishop h3. So kind of idea is to pressure e6 and prepare the g6 break. So b4 was played, knight e2 retreating, knight c6, and here it goes, g6. break comes with decisive opening of the position. Black king is still in the center, so f5 was played, otherwise this pawn chain is kind of destroyed. f5, they tried to prevent it, but then our pieces go in with white. So knight f4 going into attack, queen e7. Now for a blitz, white played a risky sack, bishop f5. Maybe knight g5 was best. If yeah, they could if queen takes, knight e6 is always there, yeah, to win something back. So this was not easy to spot. Something like this could have happened, and yeah, white is better. But bishop f5 was very interesting sack, practical one, because white is coming in with the rook. Knight f8, queen d5. Okay, white is down a piece but won some pawns and is attacking. Yeah, won another pawn. Queen h5, queen d6 coming here. Knight d3. Yeah, of course we have to prevent checkmate. But now black finally made a mistake. Yeah, very hard position to defend, especially in blitz when you're always in time trouble. So very hard to spot defensive moves. Knight e7 was best, trying to attack kind of this pawn, but it could be a messy game like this, or even allowed to take it and take like that, some endgame. But black went queen f6. So now that was a mistake, because white just goes knight g5. Threats include maybe knight h7 as well. And here is the critical moment arising. After queen g4, you can pause the video and think to find a winning move for white. And the right idea is we go sacking more. And king is coming here, and white kind of calculated everything correctly, that they're giving these checks and they're winning a queen eventually, like this. So hopefully you've seen this variation, that you're winning something, yeah, with knights. Otherwise the sack could not work, yeah, if you didn't see this far. So king d6, yeah, they won the queen. And here is like the final stages of the game. White is totally winning. Just a mop-up left to do. Be careful of not getting checkmated somehow. Just some cheapos, yeah, but white is just totally winning. And here black resigned. So key moments in this game was this g4, yeah, remember this idea. And basically white got big attack. Another key moment was g6 break, after which everything, yeah, white crashed through basically, and finally this sacrifice won the game. Okay. The next game is from Title Tuesday Blitz from 2024. This was a very instructive game how to play if white is making this typical c5 mistake early on. Here the game started with our setup, e3, and now this black made this typical c5 mistake. So first question to you, do you remember what to do here? Of course, we go knight b5. Knight becomes superior. Black has to go knight a6, and then next ideas are played perfectly with white. They strengthen the center first. They protect the knight, very typical way of playing. And then we prepare when they castle this kingside attack. We bring the bishop out, we'll bring the knight out, we'll push these pawns. So bishop d7 happened, knight f3, queen b6. Yeah, black is going, that will most likely happen in your games as well. You see, also very bad for black, they cannot even put the rook out because this pawn is hanging, but they will most likely think of a way and they will try to hit this knight, kind of disconnect it and win the pawn here. But as you know, if you watch the theory, we don't care about this pawn. We go for attack. Yeah, they waste so much time taking this pawn. So white continued knight e5, bishop e8. And first question to you, pause the video and think, how would you continue? Well, there is no need to castle, yeah? We go much more aggressive. Center is ours, yeah? Center we control. So there is no need to castle. We launch the flank attack immediately. We attack on the king side. And here's the moment I talked about, yeah? They disconnect our knight. But we don't worry about that pawn, because it takes so much time for them to take it. Now let's see if you remember the typical move in this position, how white should play. Pause the video and think. And the right idea is queen b1, both defending b2 and putting this battery, yeah, attacking the king side. Well done if you found this. Rook a d8. f3 was played, but even g5 was stronger. Here, as an example, we can even trap the knight like this and follow the attack. f3 was fine as well. We intend g5 next, so black kind of defended h7 will be hanging, g6, but we push those pawns. Yeah, this pawn storm is coming. h5, gh, and now white even made a very good move. No need to take back. We try to open the h file instead. g5, and now after rook h5, white is just basically winning, crashing through. This king is lonely without much defenders, many defenders. f5 he tried, but we're opening more lines, and we're just basically crashing through. So queen g6, king h8, and it's almost mate. Let's see if you can find the mate in 2 here. Yeah, in the game white didn't find it, so pause the video and find the mate in 2 with white. The right move was bishop g8, check, and yeah, very simple, but of course you can imagine this was a blitz game, so maybe white panicked a bit, but here he had a mate like that. So instead he played bishop h6, trying to go for this mate, but rook was taken. He went for this. Black gave some final checks, but now excellent move. Yeah, white is still winning. Bishop f7, blocking the queen defense, and white managed to win this sort of endgame. Yeah, he has just way too much material here, and game finished in a checkmate. Here we see a model game of by the OG of the opening grandmaster Jobava himself from Georgia, on how to play against the Slav setup. This game was kind of old a bit. It was played in World Championship Rapport 2014, so when the opening is kind of still fresh and developing, so ignore some whites maybe decisions, yeah, they made, but overall very quality game how to attack in Jobava system. So knight c3, d5 was played, bishop f4, and black goes for this Slav setup, bishop f5. So first question to you, do you remember what to play? What's the white's main plan against this system? Okay, in the game f3 was played. Of course, in our theory, I kind of recommend first go e3, but the main plan remains. This bishop will be our target, and we will push those pawns. So, but e3 has a like option to play maybe knight f3 if you want, yeah, against some quick bishop b4 ideas and so on. So e3 I consider a more flexible move, but f3 perfectly playable. This was like original Jobava system move white played previously. Basically they consider bishop f5 now a target and look for quick kingside pawn play. So f3 was idea, e6, and g4, yeah, white launches the pawns immediately, and h4. Well, this natural follow-up, yeah, of the pawns threaten now to capture, trap the bishop. So black has two options, I would say, to guard against that. Either they go h5, or in the game h6 was played. But I think h5 is a way better move, in my opinion, because after g5, black drops here, e3, and now the best move for black is just develop and maybe go for some a6, c5 ideas, I think. So even they can go for short castle if they want. Yeah, this doubling of the pawns now won't matter so much. They're gonna open the f line, so this is the best way for black to play in general. So but here variation could continue. Bishop d6, tricky move, but tricky more for black because white is coming with the knight on f4, and this looks like an excellent idea. Yeah, we can take on g6 whenever we want and follow up with bishop h3, for example. Yeah, of course we're gonna probably castle long as well. So this h5 I consider better option always in this line for black. So in the game h6 was played, e3, so we kind of transpose into what we looked in theory, and c5. This is an active response, but as we know, it's a bit too early to play this way if we have knight b5 option. So better option is a6 for black and try to prepare the c5 if they want. So c5 immediately was played, and h5. I think not the greatest idea to fix the pawn structure. I would leave g5 break as an opportunity later on, but not a bad move. h5 is definitely not a bad move. Maybe just simply knight b5 is best and keep all options open. Yeah, c3, we want this knight here anyway if they make this early inaccuracy. So in the game h5, and then white followed up with this typical, yeah. In those times, black didn't know how disadvantageous this position is for them. So they kind of often went into this c5 typical inaccuracy until the theory developed. So let's see how white continues here. Bishop d3 was played. So this logical move kind of tries to exchange this active bishop, and after the exchange, yeah, to clear the path for attack. Yeah, we want this defender gone. So knight d7, and black is controlling that we don't go g5. But knight e2 was played in the game. Maybe knight h3 is more accurate. So it retains the idea, yeah, of playing g5. Knight e2, okay, castles, and a4. So white has maybe slight advantage. Jobava play has made sense, and now he restricts kind of black's active play. So not clear, yeah, what black should be doing here. And so after some moves, white played an interesting idea, f4. This is an ambitious move, but certainly in Jobava style, yeah, he tries to push the pawns, prepare g5, and many possibilities for white. Of course, we have to be careful a bit about our king, but black has no active options. Yeah, center is kind of blocked, so flanks attacks are very powerful. So, but in the game, black played too slow. Maybe at least they could have displaced the king a bit, just drop back then. But knight b6 was a kind of slow move, and also moving the knight away from the king. Yeah, so seems risky. And now here is your moment to think in the game. So pause the video and think how next white should proceed. And of course, we don't hesitate, we go for attack. So that was white, how white was preparing for g5. Yeah, this is a 4 move. So of course we don't hesitate and play g5, breaking through. g5, hg, but not taking back, of course. Yeah, if you kind of thought about that, then this is not clear. White's intention was just to get rid of the pawn and break open the lines. So h6 is best. g6, black tries to keep it closed, but now we take, and this is kind of semi-forced line. Bishop e5 was played. Maybe in game f6, but this weakens the king more. In the game maybe bishop f6 should have been played, but at least black is fighting on. Yeah, white has big advantage according to engine and so on. Yeah, visually it seems big attack, but at least black has some chances here. After f6, white just went in, all guns blazing, knight d6, and yeah, if they take here, we could take this way and promote winning material. So they had to deal with this pawn somehow. They don't have time to take the bishop. They went rook h8, but this was kind of passive move. Knight f4 followed. Yeah, we attacking now everything, so this has to be get rid of. Knight has to go. Yeah, and kingside is basically fatally exposed now. So, and after a long castle, let's see how white finishes this attack. Yeah, excellent attack going on. Managed to crack the king open, and some fancy moves by Jobava. Yeah, some g6 threats, and basically he just wins the queen, cashes in, yeah, without finishing the attack actually, but it's enough to win the game. Some more moves were made. King h8, e5, nice breakthrough. gf was a mistake because white goes for mate, and ef6 basically wins the game. Too many threats for black, so black resigned here. This next game is played by strong GMs Berkes and Prohaszka, and it shows us how to play against this early c5 on second move with white. So game started d4, d5, bishop f4. Well, we know our move order, yeah? We go knight c3 first, and basically this will transpose to the game. Yeah, white plays e4. Remember this counter gambit. Yeah, and this will happen in the game. So game move order was this, London move order, but eventually we transposed. Yeah, c5 is a logical move for black, but it kind of allows this option to go e4, but still we have to know this move. So e4, and we transpose back like this. So now black went a6, a good move, and in the theory I showed you we kind of have to go for some sack, f3, but white played a very tempting move here, queen e2. Engine kind of doesn't like very much this move, but it's a very practical try. Now it's very dangerous for black to take this pawn, yeah, because we castle long. This is a nice pin. They cannot take, yeah, we take with check. So otherwise this knight will get pinned very much. So they went for g6 instead. Another try could be like bishop f5, trying to hold the pawn, but then of course we sack the pawn and we go for some fast development and attack this way. g4 is coming, and it doesn't matter that we're pawn down, we're gonna castle on opposite sides and we'll have a nice attack going on. So g6 was played, and knight e4 is possible here to regain the pawn, but black white went for a more aggressive option to just attack. Now they took it back, castles, and interesting move by white. They have to drop the queen anyway because they'll be hit by some bishop f5. Queen e3 was played, and this was like old theory how to play in this line. Yeah, we win back the pawn, but actually black in the game played not a great move, I think. Best according to theory is knight d7 idea, and they go with this knight to just defend the king. So for example here knight f6, and black's attack is quicker. Now they go for this b5 push and so on. So here it was an interesting tactic actually. They could take no, actually not. not take like this. But king b1 might run into some other dangerous idea, so a3, but then b4 is coming, and this is a crazy engine move I found, which is kind of total mess on the board, yeah, but according to theory, maybe no human will find this, but if prepared, maybe black can find, yeah, if they expect you to play this move. So another idea could be bishop f5, but then we go on with attack. What else? Yeah, let's get back to the game. Queen a5, and king b1, typical move. And now they played this bishop f5 again. Again, they should kind of transpose to this knight d7 idea. Bishop f5 allowed bishop h6, so both sides are attacking now, which will go in first, yeah. So black played a kind of slow move. They had to take the bishop perhaps and bring the knight in, but now white has a very interesting sack. They could start with f3, but this is even stronger. g4 takes, and bishop h3. The point is white is very quick with attack, and h4, h5 might be coming, yeah. Knight g5 is a major threat now, so very interesting. This g4 sack often happens in these types of positions. So instead in the game rook d8 happened, bishop g7, king g7. Now you can pause the video and think imaginatively how you could continue with white. So in the game played grandmaster played bishop e2, but again this g4 idea is very interesting. If you can remember from this game, this g4 sack, yeah, we want to open the lines at any cost basically, so that kind of quickens our attack. You see, already g file is open, then we push on and we can invest some material, yeah, because kings are on opposite sides. So very interesting, this g4 idea. White played it safer, bishop e2, but this happened, yeah, queen came back. White will of course continue the attack. Maybe knight d7 made more sense. Rook d6 they played. They want to probably lift the rook somehow here. f3, h5. A bit strange move, yeah, moving the pawn on the same side, but where you're attacked, but they wanted to prevent g4. And here white made an inaccuracy, far too passive. Yeah, white seems forgotten about his attack, but h4 was best. h4, and then again this typical sack, g4. We crash through the king side, and of course not taking back. We open more lines, h5, now b3, and then you see we opened the path to the queen. So this is decisive attack for white. So in the game b3 happened. Now they went for h4, but maybe queen d2 was safer to just guard the pawn and move this queen out of the way, something like this. h4, they took the pawn, but white was going all in anyway. Yes, they sacked this d5 pawn, so this happened. h5, yeah, typical. We don't recapture, we open more lines. We want to open all our pieces. So h5. Now black had a defense. They had to kind of go g3, close the lines a bit, and kind of escape with their king, which is defending for black, but still messy game. But they went queen c6 instead, so that allowed, they tried to defend h6 with their queen, yeah, but that allowed to capture on g4, and now they cannot take it. They had to go here, bishop f3. You see, we are exchanging black's defenders. Only defender is the queen here. So now we can pause the video and think how white should continue their attack. And the right move is rook h5. We go with our pieces. Yeah, the threat is rook g5. Queen f6 happened, rook f5, queen e6, knight h3. And you see these pieces were still sleeping, and we are winning this attack. So white's pieces are flooding in, yeah. This is like numbers overwhelming the black black defender only is the queen, perhaps. So yeah, and even some in-between move to attack the queen. Black sacked the queen, otherwise they're getting probably crushed like this. Yeah, and back with the rook and continue the attack, but they sacked the queen, which basically was lost anyway, so the rest was kind of mop-up job for white. Even queen g3 came, yeah, and some mates unavoidable, so an exciting game. Yeah, you will always get exciting attacks from this gambit with c5 early on if you play this counter e4, yeah, move in Jobava move order. Here we'll see a model game by creative grandmaster Rapport. He is like innovator in many openings, not excluding Jobava as well. So here he plays against this center counter system. This was a classical game from 2014. So d4, knight f6. Yeah, now we start in Jobava move order, and black plays c5. This is considered to be the most challenging move usually to white setup. Having already played knight c3, yeah, we don't have c3 move, so white kind of tries to counter us in the center. Now pause the video and let's see if you remember what's the next white's move. And the correct one is e3, yeah, which is defend the center. No need for dc5, yeah, don't try to mix this move order. It's against a6 when a6 is already played, so dc5 is there. Here we would just lose the center, and this move is even met with a strong d4 move. Yeah, black is fighting in the center and gains control of it. And we don't have knight b5 still yet. Yeah, this will also be a mistake because queen e5 is there. We don't defend the knight yet. So you see, that's don't mix up these ideas in your games. Yeah, c5 is a strong move. We have to go e3 first. Okay, in the game was played cd4. Another modern idea, like I showed you in theory, is this move after or before taking on d4. Yeah, this is probably one of the best for black to equalize the game. But cd4 is considered like the main line, and basically it now actually white wanted to take on c5 at this moment, so black did this, and we also want to jump on b5 as well, so that's why black took, and they played a6, preventing knight b5. Yeah, here again this bishop g4 is a good idea. We've seen this in theory. Yeah, f3, bishop back, and probably black is equalizing with nice play, but main move is usually a6. And yeah, white just continues developing, and he doesn't care much about the spin because we already put the question to the bishop. Now of course black took. If they don't take, if they keep the pin, this is kind of wasting time for black and giving white a nice edge. For example, something like this. Yeah, we also might be trapping the bishop, some sharp lines. Yeah, it seems like we're trapping, but black has f6. And this knight c4 ensures advantage. We will get bishop pair in this sort of play. Still a messy position, yeah, but white is slightly better. So usually best for black is just to take, because this bishop is anyway not so great. Yeah, that black will be putting pawns on light squares. So queen f3, knight c6. Yeah, let's see if you remember what to play next for white. Yeah, kind of easy. Okay. Castles, yeah. We defend d4. We often want, after moving the queen, to castle long, so excellent move, which commits the king to the queen side. And this looks dangerous for white, yeah, on this c line, but actually white is kind of moving fast with these pawns, so this will be a sharp play. e6, and of course we go g4. In the game, bishop b4 was played. Bishop d6 happened in other grandmaster encounters, so probably h4 might be the best. King b1 is also playable, so yeah, here you can basically improvise, no need to know further. If you want to prepare for the game, of course you can look deeper with engine, but the main idea for white is just to push these pawns and counter black's attack on the queen side. So bishop b4. Of course, we have to now consider moving the knight maybe, but in the game white did move the knight, but maybe g5 is safer. Yeah, here we can recapture always with a queen, remember, yeah? So, and this knight jump doesn't seem so dangerous, we can kick it back later on, so g5 might be improvement. So knight e2 was played instead. Queen e5, of course, we defend king b1. Knight e4 jump happened. And now excellent move for white, knight c1. This is amazing defender on c1. He might jump here, opens the bishop again. And overall, we've seen this idea from the Pirc, I think, chapter, yeah, where this knight is nicely defending everything. So remember this idea, yeah, of knight remaneuvering here. Excellent for defense. Yeah, we remove this kind of vulnerable knight from c3. Then bishop d6 happened. Knight b3, queen c7, bishop e3. Yeah, not exchanging our attacker. Keeping the bishops, good idea. And yeah, black needs to decide where to castle, so they chose short castle. Rook g1, we continue preparing the attack. And now knight e7 might have been best, but still white is continuing, yeah, pushing the pawns. But in the game, black made a mistake. They played f5. This is just way too optimistic and opens our rook, yeah. So gf, ef, yeah, even going for this g7 pawn. And pause the video here. Think how white should continue the attack. And here actually white had a tactic. Bishop g7, sacking the piece. We sack the piece for 2 pawns, and even 3 pawns, seems so. Black wins back something, but yeah, here they're losing material actually, yeah, because the knight was hanging, so, and the rook was hanging as well, so suddenly white has emerged 2 pawns up, because basically this tactic won them the game, because now there is only a matter of technique, as they say. So let's see how white quickly kind of converted this advantage. Yeah, black took some pawn back, but white is having a strong passed pawn on the d line, so there will you be using that to win the game. Yeah, some maneuvers happened, yeah, but then the pawn starts advancing suddenly. Yeah, queen c3 is a major threat, so no time to take this pawn. They have to defend this diagonal, but then white is supporting the pawn, improving the position overall, and just converting this advantage like that. Here's the final moment. You can pause the video and think how white made the move, and black resigned after this move. Yeah, so the tactic is rook f8. Yeah, interference. We want d8 queen, and now we interfere with this rook defender, and that wins the game. This game was a game from a famous chess YouTuber, GM Simon Williams, also well known as Ginger GM, who is has a famous YouTube channel, and mostly he popularized London Jobava and just London systems in general from his video courses. So I had to include at least one game of his. So this was a rapid game from 2023. And here we see a battle against this a6 plus c5 setup. So game started like this. Jobava move order. c5. Of course we go e3. Now the option for black is to take the pawn, but they went for this a6 move order. This a6 can also arise from here like this, and then they go c5. So a6. Yeah, black plays without taking on c5 first, and this is the first moment to pause the video and let's see if you remember the correct move from the theory, how we play. And the right idea is, if they don't capture, and already we have e3 played, is dc5. Please remember this, yeah, in your games. We have to take now, otherwise black is just having easy development. So we have to take and kind of guard the pawn if necessary. But here black tries to win it back immediately with the queen, so we cannot really prevent it. Yeah, remember in theory we looked at e6 knight e4 move, and knight c6 we play a3, try to defend this way then. So you can watch the video or the chapter from Lichess to repeat that. Queen a5 was played, knight f3. White just, he seems that black will win back the pawn, but he just keeps development, yeah? So black wastes 2 moves to regain the pawn, and bishop e2 was played. Bishop d3 also looks good. For example, again, probably black has to take. If they go back here, we always have this g4 push and g5 even, yeah, winning the pawn. So bishop d3, yeah, they have to take, but then white has nice play, I would say. Maybe we can consider even castling long. So bishop e2 in the game. I think maybe e6 was slightly better, just to strengthen the center and develop solidly. Black played g6, castle, bishop g7. So yeah, seems like white almost finished development, but what to do next? Yeah, how to play next for white? Pause the video and think. And the right idea is we need some breaks in the center. Yeah, breaks are the foundation of strategy, pawn play. So we need to progress to make some kind of break here to open the pieces. Yeah, if we do just normal moves, black will also play normal moves and probably be fine. So here we go for c4 idea. Yeah, important to see this follow-up, why we play knight a4. Yeah, we remove the knight to push the pawn and attack their center. And here black doesn't have b5 because we have this move. So they went castles instead. And there was some crazy computer move, b4, very hard to spot for human. White played in the game back here, yeah, because they were afraid of this b5. But b4, let's see this crazy line. Queen f5, then the whole idea is to gain this b6 square with this b4, yeah, and then we win the piece like that. So queen has to stay close to b6, but then some crazy moves start, yeah, and we go something like this. Bishop f7 just to remove this rook from defense here, and basically white is winning here. So knight c3, white missed this, but surprising, very hard to find. Maybe in long think you could consider this, but this was, I think, a rapid game. Yeah, this was a rapid game, so not surprisingly, yeah, white didn't find this. a4 was played next, knight h5. Black is kind of okay now. They equalized the game, I think, but they made some mistakes, like right here. Black got a bit too fancy here, and they didn't want to exchange queens, but the simplest was, of course, just take the queens off and rook d8, and black has even slight advantage with 2 bishops and so on. So here they went a bit too crazy. Queen d6, yeah, trying to keep the queens, but that allowed a couple tempos for white. Now they cannot really take this pawn because knight d5 is very strong. Queen b8 went back, knight d5 anyway. E6 was a mistake. Knight a5 was needed to kind of even maybe sack the pawn and get rid of that bishop, and b2 will be hanging as well. So black missed probably that how strong this knight b6 is. So white knight b6 basically paralyzed black's pieces here. Yeah, they went for some fancy pin, but didn't work out as expected. And here white made an excellent exchange sack. Rook b1. So basically black's pieces are like in jail on this queen side. Knight b6 is keeping these 2 pieces locked. So they took the exchange, but now, yeah, move the rook. But now this queen is like totally locked out of the game. And what to do next? White switches to the kingside attack suddenly and goes h4. Queen comes back, and of course h5 next, trying to open as fast as possible, while their black is dynamically playing queen down. Yeah, and managed to open the king, and Yeah, this is big attack coming. Now we can pause the video and think, how should white continue the attack? And the right idea is, we need more guys, yeah? We need more dudes to attack. So rook e3, bringing all to the party, and yeah, black didn't manage to defend. Knight e5, this is lost now. King is naked, yeah? No defenders, king is very sad. And getting checkmated like this. So this was the final stage of the game was nice, but overall, just remember how to play against this a6 c5. Yep. If they don't take, then we have to take ourselves here. And you can also rewatch the theory, yeah, to repeat that. Here we have a game between two Polish players, and this is a model game on the Grunfeld setup, especially when they castle early, black, and allow us this deadly h5 attack. So this was a rapid game from 2018. d4, knight f6. Again, this London move order, you might investigate what's the difference, yeah, but I would have advised to play knight c3 because we went e4 quickly. Yeah, this would transpose like this, but quickly got to our Jobava. Anyway, e3, bishop g7, and let's quickly pause the video and see if you remember the right move, the right plan for white. So of course, against this setup, we go h4, pushing Harry the h-pawn. It is a clear aggressive choice. Many players of black underestimate this move and castles, which is highly risky, and this is exactly what happened in the game. They castled. So in the next games we'll see h5 and h6 moves played. So castles, and of course, what do we play? No hesitation, we go all in, sack the exchange. And yeah, black has final chance here not to take the pawn and play this sharp line. Is a much stronger move. In the game they took the pawn. Rook takes, of course, we sack, and a huge attack, yeah? Engine already gives big advantage. We are exchanged down, but basically the position is playing itself, yeah? The attack is playing itself. Bring out the bishop, has to defend, knight f3, like all automatic moves, yeah? Castles long, queen e8. Okay, pause the video here and think, should we exchange the queens? Of course not. White retreated here. Yeah, we keep our most powerful attacking unit on the board, and also queen h2 prevents e5 attempt. Yeah, so good move. Bishop d7, and white kind of even trolled a bit with black. Yeah, playing a3. It shows white's dominance, that even he has time to prevent maybe knight b4 with c5 ideas. So black is kind of helpless on the king side. He cannot bring too many resources there to defend. Here they played queen g6, but this was a mistake. Pause the video and think, how should you continue? And the deadly move is g4. White is breaking through. They just needed to calculate the consequences if the queen takes, yeah, otherwise we're just totally crushing. But it's just decisive on the g line. And bishop g5 and bishop h6, basically winning material and the game, yeah? White's attack crashed through the g line. And they win the queen for some material, but our queen is going in as well, and this is cleanup operation now. So just need to be awake not to blunder something, but white is just totally winning, yeah, with a material advantage. So knight d5 also happened, yeah, pin, and here is the mate coming, queen h5. So a very nice quick victory, yeah, in this. If black doesn't evaluate this as a dangerous move, we can quickly crush in many games as white. So I wish you many such games. Let's see another model game from this Grunfeld setup. This was a classical game from 2017. White is playing famous player Navara, Super GM. So d4, knight f6, bishop f4. Yeah, again, London move order, but of course we know this. Yeah, knight move first, but quickly transposing back to our setup. And of course this is a Grunfeld setup, so we go h4. And now black stops our attack with h5. So knight f3, continuing the development, and bishop g4. So pause the video here. Let's see if you remember the right idea. Very interesting idea how to deal with the spin. So queen d2. That's why this was called Navara idea. So this was originally played in this game. So excellent idea. We've seen this from theory chapter. White escapes the pin and now is ready to jump with the knight on e5. So, and castles as well. So black took, of course. We take back with the pawn, and white's pawn structure is kind of compromised, yeah. But and g4 cannot be played, yeah. But we have center influence. We have g line. We have bishop here. So very unbalanced game now. So castles long, and c5 was a mistake. We'll see that. Better moves are c6. Then we go for this traditional e4 push. And here, if we are allowed, we often sack the pawn like this, but it's not really a sack because the structure is so weak now. Black's position is a total mess. Yeah, we will attack these weak pawns and have big attack here. So probably better is play e6 to prevent that, but then white still goes for this plan. Let's see, maybe if you remember what's the right plan after this knight e8. Yeah, how should white break through? So probably the correct idea is move this bishop back and prepare sometimes this f4 f5 push. Yeah, we need a break to open the king somehow. So this is probably the right idea. Many other moves could be played as well, but try to remember this idea if you reach this position. So back to the game. c5 was played, but this is a mistake. You can pause the video and think why this is a bad move. How should white continue? And we just take the pawn, yeah. Black tried to kind of counter-attack us with this typical c5, but they probably misevaluated that white is just winning too many pawns. Knight c6 was played, but sacking another pawn on d5, but e6 probably better, but white can just increase the pin. So knight c6 took the pawn. Okay, white is 2 pawns up, but we just need to be careful on the defense now for a moment. We have to kind of defend our queen side. So queen b3 was played, e5. Black to try to attack in any way possible, but okay, now 1 pawn up, but now position is consolidated. White is clearly better here. And Navara took the simplest approach. He just exchanged the rooks, brought the bishop out. f7 is hanging, so black made another mistake, giving up this pawn. White can easily now defend against queen d2. Queen d2 threats by playing, maybe you can think a bit, how should white defend? They played a3, yeah, denying this back rank tactics, and king is going here. So queen d2. Black has nothing else here, so now white is switching on to finish the game. And king a2 happened, a5, many ways to win here. White chose just a simple activation of the rook. Rook f5 is the idea, and black resigned here, a quick crushing victory in this Grunfeld setup. This was a game by a famous chess gangster, Grischuk. This was a model game on Grunfeld setup yet again, the final one, from World Championship, Blitz World Championship 2016. So let's see, we'll see the h6 move now against this, our attempt of h4. Black played h6. Basically black is trying, if we push h5, they might go g5. So what do? Now we don't need to rush with these pawns, yeah, because they don't even might they not even might castle, so we just develop. And here you could choose Navara's move if you want. Yeah, queen d2 is very interesting, but Grischuk in the blitz game played just simply bishop e2, knight e5, exchange these bishops, and white's position is already slightly better. One move away from castling long, and yeah, let's see how game continued. Knight bd7, castles long. Yeah, of course we go long side, not short side. Queen a5 and king b1, typical prophylactic move whenever queen comes here. And so knight c3 can move. Knight e5 happened, but this is just a nice bishop pinning, yeah, pinning this knight. And e4, finally white is breaking through. So this would be a typical break in such position. No need to go for g4 whenever black is not castled yet, you see, so we go in the center. e4, and now black made a maybe critical mistake in this blitz game, so they castled long. Pause the video and think why this is a bad idea for black and how white can continue. So the right idea for white was to open the c line. Yeah, it's a sneaky little idea, maybe not easy to spot. And then suddenly the rook is coming, will be lifted to c3, and that black king is like very exposed here. He cannot even go to b8, so this is what black missed probably. And okay, they try to defend here, but of course now we move the knight, we prepare rook c3, deadly attack coming. And the problem is they cannot even move the knight, yeah, this is pinned, so they have no time to unpin. a6 was played, but now black is winning material this way. Knight a7, yeah, threatening checkmate. Black tried to escape with the king. Queen f3 happened. King e7, and now white is just winning material this way. Yeah, f6 will be hanging if king moves, so you have to sack the exchange, but this is over. Rook d8 was a final mistake, and bishop c7 just wins more material. Yeah, so a crushing victory against this Grunfeld setup yet again. I hope you'll get many of these types of games. Let's see now a game against the Pirc setup. So this was played by Chinese players. White is playing Super GMVE, and this was a classical game from 2017. So again, London move order, but you know how we start. Knight c3, and then we try e4, g6, and it transposed now not to Grunfeld but to Pirc setup. Yeah, black played d6. So let's pause the video for a moment here and think, how should white continue? What's their main plan? And I've shown you in theory. The main idea for white is this queen d2, castle long idea, and go for attack with bishop h6, h4, yeah? So that's how we play. And in the game, castle short was played, which is a bit dubious in my opinion move. Seems very natural, yeah? How could this be a mistake? But I think white's attack is just faster in these lines, so black might consider a move such as c6 and so on. So, and white of course goes long castle, answering short castle with long side, basically raising the parrot flag, yeah? So we're gonna attack them, gonna be mutual attacks. So in the theory we've seen many attacking attempts for black, like a6, c6 and so on. In this game played, the move played was knight c6, so black is trying to kind of maybe prepare this e5 move. f3 was played, right? Defending e4 and always having this g4 option. And now black went knight h5, so they're kind of fighting for dark squares. Let's quickly see this e5 move. Yeah, pause the video and try to calculate why this is a mistake. Well, black is not prepared to make such a move yet. We can just simply win a pawn, like exchanging everything and winning this pawn. So e5 is too early. Knight h5 was played, bishop h6, and finally black achieved their aim, e5. So now again, moment to pause the video and think how you should consider, how you should solve this e5 move. Should we take or not? And the correct move is don't take the pawn, keep the tension. Don't take, yeah, don't equalize in the center. So another good move if you thought you could first take the bishop, then do this, not bishop e2, knight g2 move. Again, same idea. Knight g2 was played. Black took the bishop, but this brings our queen in, and you see, if we don't take or close the position, then it also keeps always the tension in the center and gives us additional attacking chances, I think. So Black took himself on d4, but I don't think this was great. Yeah, they exchanged a couple of pieces trying to reduce our attackers, but still attack is going stronger and faster for white. Yeah, Black didn't even start their pawn charge, yeah, pawn kind of storm, but we are doing it right now. So h5 is coming, and now an excellent move for white. Rook d2, yeah, where is this rook going? To double and basically give checkmate to Black. So excellent move, rook d2, because this rook will be hit anyway, yeah, with some c5 or something. So white just prevented that and trying to bring another attacker. And here were some moves, but basically white achieved his plan. Any take will be also always met by g5. Yeah, don't take and block your rooks. Always remember this. If they take, we can always push and then take. So rook d8 was happened. Queen h6. White is just messing around, but finally bishop d3, and attack is crushing. Some in the game king h8 was played, but d5 would be met by this move, yeah, attacking the defender. And you can pause the video and find a very nice finisher here. Queen sack, and we are checkmating here. Very nice. So in the game something similar happened. e5, de, and g5 crushing. Yeah, if they go knight g8, you can do the same queen sack again. Yeah, will be checkmate very fast. So g5, they took the knight, but after this they had to resign. There is no defense. Yeah, if they take, just checkmate. So a crushing victory against the Pirc. I hope you enjoyed it. We come to the final game now of our course, the final model game, and I chosen this quick miniature game for the fun attack. Yeah, so Black plays this c5. Yeah, other moves kind of chapter from the theory. We won't look at some Dutch games. You can maybe investigate on your own, but I've chosen this c5 as an example. So we go for this practical dc5 move. Yeah, this game was, I didn't mention, it was a classical game from 2018. It was, you see, played around 2300 level players, so strong, like master level players. But this was a really crushing game. So white definitely caught Black in preparation, because they went for this knight c3 move. Now let's see first thing, if you remember, yeah, what to do against this bishop c5. Do you remember from the theory? Pause the video. And the right move is knight e4 idea, yeah, to go with this knight d6 next. So good that if you remembered. In the game was played knight f6, but this allows a very nice kind of trick. Yeah, let's think now. Pause the video. How should white play? The right idea is e5. Yeah, suddenly this knight is without too many squares, and usually they will go back in the games like this, knight g8, but then we can just bring the queen and play something like French defense, yeah, with tempos up. So e5, Black tried to kind of doesn't back down and goes for this f2, but we know from the theory this is not a good line. So let's see if you remember, yeah, what happens here. ef, Black took the pawn here, king e2, and they took the knight. Pause the video here and try to remember how white should play. And the right move is we sack the exchange here, dragging this queen in, we go for queen d6, checkmate threat on e7. They have to take probably, and now this queen is basically trapped here. Even if we don't capture it, we just have a massive attack going on, so white is basically just crushing. So white kind of caught black in theory, I would say. b6, maybe bishop a6 move, but it doesn't help. Knight f6, king d8, bishop g5, excellent move. Bishop a6, they try desperately to develop the remaining pieces, but no good. Yeah, h6. Of course, we keep the bishop. Bishop b7, and pause the video here and finish the game. So knight d5, here checkmate. Yeah, so this was a very nice miniature. So we go out with a bang, as we say. So basically we finished with Jobava London Attack. Yeah, this was like the final chapter model games. You'll now have a full repertoire against most played moves. You can always use the Lichess study as a reference, yeah, to prepare for games and so on, and analyze the games after replay as a reference. This course was made for players like under 2000 online, but I think many will get benefit even if they are stronger until master level, I would say, because I provided lots of ideas, model games. It's sometimes even more than enough to know, like for such level players. Yeah, you'll have full repertoire against all the systems, all the most popular systems black can throw at you, and universal weapon. Yeah, you can play this against anything, so you don't have to know tons of theory. And main chapters from the theory maybe you should focus is most popular appearing, I would say, Queen's Gambit decline setup. Yeah, so that's chapter 2, and maybe this c5 center counters. They appear mostly in practical play, like at least on my level, yeah, but probably lower as well. So and wish you the best of luck and crushing victories online with Jobava London Attack, and see you in the next videos. Bye bye.